Hi everyone, Mike from All About Beekeeping. We're just out in Templestowe today going to do an oxalic acid vaporization for a customer who has Varroa Mite. We'll set this camera up and let you see what we do. The first thing we need is proper PPE. This is a ventilator with the proper cartridges for vaporization. So I do have a little bit of a beard, so to make sure that I've got a good seal, I like to cover up the holes in the ventilator and make sure that the mask sucks good and tight to my face. Fantastic, so no leaks. So we set this over here. This is already on and warming up. We'll get the oxalic acid out. Actually, first of all, we need gloves. All right, we'll put this down to 3 grams. We'll push that right in to the oxalic acid. Make sure the plunger goes all the way down. And then there you have it. All right, we'll put this inside the vaporizer, which is already up to 260 degrees. We'll pop that in, and we're just about ready to go. All right, now we're ready to go. 260 degrees Celsius, pretty hot. All right, here's our single box hive. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna block half this entrance up and administer the oxalic acid, and then let it sit for 15 minutes, and then we'll open it back up. All right, that's all it takes. So what I'll do is I'll close this up, let this sit for 15 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and clean up this oxalic acid vaporizer. All right, if you notice I'm still wearing my PPE, I just think it's a good idea to keep this thing on while we're cleaning. Keep in mind this thing is very, very hot. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour a tiny bit of water in here. This cap doesn't take very much. Water expands like 75 times. So what we'll do is we'll put this upside down. Make sure it's down there tight. Put my hand on top. And just letting all that steam clean this sucker out. So I like to do it quite a few times. It's very important to hold your hand over top of this little pink silicone cap. If not, the steam will expand really, really quickly, and this thing will shoot off like a rocket. All right, this thing is reading out hot, and that the battery is low as well. So this thing has a fail-safe, that way if the volts get down too low, it will actually no longer work. That way it saves the battery itself. Absolutely brilliant machine. Quite interesting. They don't seem too phased, honestly. All right, the bees still seem to be flying in and out. We'll do a Varroa check before we do the next oxalic acid vaporization, and continue to stay up on our mites, and we'll probably treat with some sort of strip as well.